Now we need to add in the bartender, chuck in some drinks, and so we need to go into here and change from a sprite 2D to an animated sprite 2D. We're going to change to animated sprite 2D. I'm going to add in sprite frames. Go to sprite frames. The default is going to be Splorsh. And then we're going to add a new animation of sling and tap. So tap, sling, is it just one frame? Yep. So tap and sling are doing their thing there. We'll see. It might be good enough, honestly, just to have like a keyframe there. So where is it? We're going to go to playground. This is going to be super quick because when we press slide, we're going to have the bartender dot play tap. And when we slide, we're going to play slide. And what we'll do is we'll make, sling. I'm going to do slide. Nah, we got to put sling because it's called Saloon Slinger. And we don't confuse it with this. So sling, what we'll do is it's 5 frames per second. So we'll go ahead and just make it like 5 frames. So it sits for a second. Let's see what happens. That's actually great. And then what we're actually going to do here is it's going to be a little hacky, but I think it'll work really well. Okay, we're not going to just delete everything. We're going to delete a couple frames here. So if it's 5 frames, let's make it 4 frames per second. And we go a half second, or maybe 2 frames per second. And for half of the animation, it's like that. And then it just goes back to this. And we make it so it doesn't loop. Just like that. I think that works. Put that up to GitHub. And then we need to make an animation of the beer filling up when you tap. So we have tap here. We need to make this an animated sprite 2D as well. Go in here to sprite frames. I'm gonna put the default, or put idle as the default. And then we're gonna make another of pour. And we go into tap off, or do tap on for pour, tap off for idle. And then we just need to, and again, this is all pretty hacky, but that's okay. Play, idle, and then we will also do this, pour. See how that looks? Does that look good? So we'll put that up to GitHub. We're going rapid fire. That's the nice thing about such a simple scope game is you can make these rapid fire changes without worrying about having too much of a spaghetti mess by the time you get your really small scope thing completed. And so the last thing we need to add in for animations is going to be the beer filling up. So the drink, this is where we have to add a little bit extra, which is a signal to say, do we want a signal to say that it's like poured? Okay, so we're going to add a signal to say that do filled, and we'll change the sprite to the animated sprite. We're going to change type, animated sprite 2D, add the sprite frames, and we will have, it's just going to be the default animation. Actually, no, we're going to make the default animation being full, but then we're going to add in an animation that is fill. And that animation is going to be all those plus that, and it's going to fill over the course of it's 5 frames. So we want to go like 10 frames per second. Let's see how that looks. Is that too fast? That seems pretty good, but it is nice to like have the half-second timing. I mean, do we need the empty? Because if we get rid of the empty and we do 8 frames per second, it's still half-second. I like that a lot. Well, do you want it to fill up slow? Because you're not going to be able to throw it till it's full. Yeah, we'll play around with it. We'll see how it feels. Because I was going to have beers despawn if they don't get drank, and that brings your score down. So if you're inaccurate, you waste beer and you lose score. So for the drink, we will animated sprite 2D. So with the animated sprite 2D here, we need to make it fill. So the main issue there is going to be not allowing you to slide until the beer is filled. That's going to be really tricky. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it so that when the drinks spawn in, or the drink spawns in and you can't slide it until it's full. So the way that's going to work is in the playground where you normally say slide, where is it? We handle the input somewhere. There it is. So where we normally say, okay, slide it, we're not going to automatically like spawn a drink when you press slide. What we're going to do is we're not even going to do that. We're going to say that when you release slide, it slides the current drink and then it just creates a new drink. So you spawn every time you slide. Actually, no. We're going to, in the physics process, so when you slide it, we have, you slide the drink and then you just make that drink null. And if you don't have a current drink equals spawn drink. And so we just give the current drink for whenever you slide one, it just pops a new one down and starts filling it. So what we want to do here is we slide the current drink, we set the current drink to null, and then this is where it gets tricky because we need to connect. So the drink needs to indicate when it's done being poured. That signal needs to be connected here. So current drink dot filled connect to on drink filled, and then we need to make a new function of on drink filled drink. So if the drink that has sent the signal is the current drink, then we want to tell the tap that it can idle. We'll remove that here. Tapping, it'll automatically pour. We'll try this out for now, and then when the drink is filled, we call that when the animation finishes. So when the animation finishes, if, do we have that there? No, we don't. If the animation is fill, then we emit filled signal, and we set the animation to default. Because if the animation is default, you can sling it. So we play default, and if it's default, you can slide it. So if it's default, you're allowed to slide it, and then we can actually turn true here to say that it slid. Otherwise, we return false, so that when we, whoops, wrong button. When we are in here and we say, why did I have an issue with that? Oh, I have an error in drink. There we go. So when we slide it, if it slides, then we do all this. Otherwise, we don't. See if that works. Oop, I forgot to put thing in there. Yeah. Okay, we have no drink. So don't have a current drink. So we need to spawn a drink. Are we not spawning the drink? We have a current drink. Oh, okay. So we're getting like multiple drinks spawning, which is a little weird. So we need the drink. We actually want this to be the default animation. For some reason, we got multiple drinks showing up, which is weird. Oh, because it instantly spawns the drink, but we want to, I don't want to wait too much or else then the player doesn't have say in it. So we're going to, how long is the sling animation? This is probably not best practice, but this animation is 2 frames per second, so it's a 1 frame or 1 second animation. Yeah. Well, that means we can throw 1 a second, which is really limiting. We want to be able to, let's just see what happens. Let's say we wait to spawn. If we don't have a current drink and our bartender animation is sling, actually is default, or is not equal to sling. Because if we're default or tap, then we can spawn a drink, and we need, at the end of this animation, these loop so they don't actually emit the signal of animation finished, I don't believe. So we want to just make this sling animation nice and short. So it's 2 frames per second. Let's try 4 frames per second. So it's a 1/4 second animation. Feels better. Pouring is a little, because I'm trying to throw them really fast, but I can't. I think I'll make it pour faster, yeah. So if we go in here, we make this, let's try 12 frames per second, yeah. So that'll make it, what, a 1/3 second pouring animation? Oh, what if, I see. You know what? Whenever we play the sling animation, we should spawn the Oh no, because we don't want it to spawn right on top of it. That was the whole issue. It just doesn't feel as good gameplay wise anymore. Like, because I can't fling them as fast as I want. I have so it the game does the game is trying to promote like throw accurately because these beers in theory should go away and you lose points. So we'll just say it's good enough there. All right, we'll get that up to GitHub.